Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're gonna play Aquatica. This game supports 1 to 4 players. It's for ages 14 and up, and the average playtime is 60 minutes. We'll be attempting a solo playthrough today. This is my first time attempting the solo playthrough, so I might get a wrong or two, but as I always say, I'm here to spread awareness, have some fun, and show off some really cool games. So, the rulebook in the back is pretty brief about the solo mode. In fact, it's just this. The solo mode does not pit you against any sort of bot that you have to play against. Rather, you'll be attempting to beat different scores. So if it's 30 points or less that you end up with, then I guess you get a blobfish. Whatever, it's a title anyway. So yeah, you're gonna have to just try and beat your previous score or get a really good score. The setup seems to be fairly simple. There are various characters in the game that you will be purchasing down here, and there's a little symbol in the bottom right-hand corner. Like there's a diamond in the bottom right-hand corner. All of the cards with diamonds on them you're going to keep, and that is your character deck that you can purchase from. All of the cards with circles on them are placed out of the game for the purposes of solo mode. So all of the character cards that have the circle in the bottom right are taken out of the game. So that's one of the main differences between this and solo player or solo mode. Some of the other setups involve you get to take a king card. King cards are part of the advanced variant. You're going to deal yourself 3 and choose 1 to use. And then you follow the standard setup rules, which I've already done. And you also take a set of trained mantas and give them to your virtual rival. You'll be competing with the Itchy guys, a nation that came to the ocean from the mysterious lands above it. Alright, so it says here, play the game following the standard rules. However, every time you play the Matrona card or do the scout action, you must place one of the Itchy mantas on the goal track. You may place it on a goal track, any goal track you wish that does not already have one of their tokens. At the end of the game, once all of the Itchy mantas have been placed on the goal tracks, take one more turn, and then the game ends. Count your prosperity points. That's a little bit different than what I was expecting. In the multiplayer version of the game can end in, I think, 3 ways. One of which was, go ahead and, if one player fills up all 4 of the goal tracks up here with their mantas, then great, they will end the game that way. But also in multiplayer, if this deck runs out or if the character deck runs out, even if there's still stuff here, if the deck runs out, then that will also signal the end of the game. Grammatically, it sounds like the game only ends in solo mode if all 4 of the enemy mantas are out here. To me, if I were interpreting this, this says once end of the game, once all of the Itchy mantas have been placed. It doesn't say in addition to the other endgame conditions, if once all, like it doesn't mention the other endgame conditions. It just mentions these 4 need to be out here in order to end the game. So that's how I'm going to interpret it grammatically. So these are the enemy mantas. I turned them exhausted side up so that they don't have any effect. They're just there to get in the way of scoring. So for those of you tuning in for the first time and don't know what this game is all about, Idly and I have already played a 2-player game of this, I think it was 2 years ago. But what you're trying to do in this game is, well, you start off with a deck of cards, everyone does, and you're going to be playing them one at a time and placing them into a discard pile. The Matrona card here lets you get them all back. These cards, in addition to your starter mantas, which allow you to do various bonus things, you will be able to purchase cards from the array to add to your hand so that you can get more cards and more actions to do. You'll also be trying to get these locations here. You can either buy a location by spending gold, or you can conquer a location by spending this power. And when you do acquire a location through either of these 2 means, you've got 5 slots over here on your board. And you slot it so that the topmost circle is still showing. So if I were to acquire this, I'd slot it in this way to where only this red circle is visible. I can, as an optional thing on my turn, as a bonus action, I can freely use that power and shift this up by 1. Your ultimate goal really is to score these cards, and to do that you just have to keep using their powers on their cards in order to slide them up. Some spaces are blank, so you have to rely on other effects in order to get past them. But once you completely spend a card by sliding it all the way up, you can play a treasure. There's a treasure icon on some of these cards. You can use that to score a card and add it to your score pile. At the end of the game, you're going to score points based on how many cards you have in your score pile, plus if you've met these goals up here. The goals are, if you have 8 cards in your hand, then you can put one of your mantas here. If you have 5 something, let me just check real quick because I haven't played this game, like I said, in 2 years. There we go. To accomplish this, it needs to have 5 locations on his player board. So I would need to have 5 cards, which is the maximum I can hold. If I do that, I can place a manta here. This is, I guess, 3 treasures. I'm thinking that means I need to score 3 cards. Yes. 3 cards in the scoring pile. And then lastly, the manta one. You have to have 2 or more wild mantas. Wild mantas will be sometimes bonused to you as the result of getting a card slid all the way down to the bottom. So if I were to slide this all the way up on my track here, I would get this bonus 1 move, which allows me to take another card and slide it up. These little 1 move things allow you to get past these circles on other cards, these empty ones that you're trying to get past. But anyway, sliding it all the way up, you don't even need to score. You just slide it all the way up, and then you get this bonus. You still have to, at some point, play a treasure to score the card, but still. All right. I think that's a good enough primer for right now. There are some other actions and the like that I did not go over. I was dealt these 3 cards. Now, one thing I don't like about this solo mode is it seems like some of these bonus cards, these king cards, are useless in solo mode. Like this Adela the Liberator. All players discard 1 character, copy the effect of one of them. Well, I'm not playing against anyone else, so this is kind of useless to me. I don't see why I would ever use this in solo. So that's kind of silly. I was looking at Xander here. I can move one of my cards up 1, like slide it up. I can bring back a card from my discard pile. I can unflip 1 manta that I have. And I can also score a card. So I think I like that one. This guy, Fancelot the Alluring. After you gain this lord, gain a 2 money wild manta that I can add here, ready side up, and then place this guy in the box. Well, I'm trying to complete this, which is have 8 cards in hand, and the king card is counted toward that. So I don't want to discard. I'd rather take Xander here, I think, as my king, and add him to my starting hand of cards. All right, so these are the cards that I have to work with. And like I said, I can just keep taking turns until I either scout, which is one of these cards or multiple cards allow you to scout. Scouting is optional. You do not have to do it. It's the only main action in the game that you don't have to do. You don't have to scout. But to scout, these locations will not refill as you take them. Rather, you have to scout and get new locations out here. Any leftover locations when you scout are moved up here. Any excess are placed here in the discard area. And then new cards come out. But scouting is really the only way to refill this array. So I kind of have to puzzle out like what I want to do first, what I want to do next, and so on. So let me take a moment and think about what I want to do. Okay, so I think what I want to do is get more cards into my hand. I think that's going to be huge. Recruit 1 character. And to recruit a character, I'm going to go ahead and play this card into my discard pile, which is here. And I get to recruit 1 of these characters. This one on the far left is 0 cost. It may not be visible on the camera shot. I'll zoom it out just temporarily there. This is a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, there's no way to track money in this game. Rather, you're going to accumulate money by spending money that you've acquired over here, like if you have some available to spend. Some of your mantas also spend money. I'm just gonna get this one for free without spending any money. If I want this character, I could like exhaust this wild manta, which gives me +1 money. So I could do that if I wanted to, but I don't see a need to. I kind of like what I see here, and this says Manta's Leader. Unflip all Mantas, gain 1 power to conquer something, and then conquer 1 location. That's a free card, kind of, sort of, so I'm just going to take it. And when I recruit somebody, these guys will slide over, and a new card will come out. And this is what I'm left with. Now, optionally, like I said, I can spend mantas on my turn to get some extra resources. So I don't think there's anything here, and there's no cards for me to slide at the moment. So yeah, that concludes the first turn. And the next thing I'm going to do, I think, is play my Legionnaire, which gives me 3 conquer strength, and I can conquer 1 location. Now, I was going back and forth on this one, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because there's quite a bit of locations out here to conquer. I was eyeing this one. Now, it's only 3 to conquer, so I could conquer it without spending any sort of manta in order to just, you know, conquer it. This gives me, when I start using it on my board, I can get a +2 to conquer on these yellow symbols. Any location that has a yellow symbol on it, I get a +2 to that. And then I can also move up another card by 1, and then I can also gain some money to possibly buy another character. So I think I'm going to conquer this one. I'm going to slide it into my slot here, and there I go. So when I conquer in the future, I'll be able to use this extra power to possibly conquer maybe that one or that one, which has these little yellow icons on the bottom. And the next thing I do, I think I'm going to play the Sea Lord, gain a money, and buy 1 location. So I'm going to give myself 1 money, digitally, I guess, and I'm going to spend or exhaust my 1 coin manta here. That gives me 2 coins, and I can buy a location. So I was looking at this one. It has a red icon on the bottom, so it doesn't. I don't want to buy this because I could use this symbol to help acquire this one in the future. So I think I'm going to acquire this for 2, and it's just going to allow me to help conquer something, and then when I get to the bottom, it's going to be 4 victory points once I score it. So I think I'm just going to buy this one and slide it under here like so, and that slides up to the 2 conquer circle right there. The next thing I'm going to do is use the Seahorse, scout, gain a power, and conquer 1 location. Now, again, scouting is an optional thing. You do not have to do it. And if I did do it, I would have to place one of these enemy mantas here into one of these goal areas, which I don't want to do yet. So I'm going to gain a power and then conquer 1 location. I'm going to use this 2 power here to give myself an extra power, so I can slide that up a bit. That gives me a total of 3 power, and I'm thinking this one isn't bad because I get to get a card from my discard pile if I get to that spot. So I think, yeah, I think I'm going to take this one for 3 power and slide that in like so. And this card now goes into my discard pile. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is use my 1-up manta to get past this empty circle. Now, I don't score it yet. I have to play a treasure card in order to completely score it, but that is now exhausted. And now I'm going to play unflip all mantas. Okay, well, these are now ready to go. Gain 1 power, and then conquer 1 location. All right, so what location do I want to conquer? I've got 1 power from this, and I can get an extra 2 to yellow icons, which is down here. So I could conquer this. I also have a +2 to these over here, which is kind of nice. At some point, I'm going to need to score these cards. This is 4 power to acquire. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the 1 from this, and I'm going to use the +2 from this yellow one here. Slide that up by 1. And then I'm going to flip over my +1 conquer manta ray here. And that allows me to get 4 power, and then I can acquire this. And I'm going to slide it right there. Awesome. So I now have 4 locations at this point. All right, now is the time, I think, that we want to play Xander the Usurper. I will move one of my locations up by 1, and the one I'm going to pick is this third one. I know the icons are very hard to see. This is a +2 to conquering a blue location. The reason I'm passing that one up is because inherently, I already have something like that. I have a +2 to conquering blue locations. So, like, I feel like I don't need the double up on this, and this Manta is ready to go. So I'm going to just skip out on that. And the bonus to doing that is that at some point I can also move a card from my discard pile here back into my hand, and I'll probably be using that shortly. This says, take a card from the discard pile, which is great. I'm going to go ahead and take this Blue Waters Agent. And I probably, you know, you're probably, well, why aren't you taking a Conquer card so you can get your 5th location? I want to recruit a character that can do just that, and I'll do that on a future turn. And I'm going to go ahead and take this card here and put it into my hand. Unflip 1 Manta. So I'm going to go ahead and unflip the only Manta that is currently exhausted, which is the +1 to Conquer. And then I can score a treasure card, which I should have thought about that better, but I have to score this one. And I now have 4 points available in my score pile. All right, well, I forgot about that, but that's okay. So this guy goes into that pile there. Okay, so let's go ahead and recruit 1 character. And this one is worth 1 and allows me to conquer things. So I think I may want that one. My only concern is that I don't have a whole lot of cards that let me, like, a lot of cards in here that let me, like, take the treasure action and score them. But I think for now, this is going to be the right thing to do. I need 1 money to do that. So I'm going to flip over my 1 coin Manta here and make it exhausted. But this Meg card, gain 3 conquer, conquer 1 location, and in others discard 1 character. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my hand right now. The next thing I'm going to do is use this ability to get a card from my discard. And I know it's weird, but I'm going to take this one. And reason being, it's going to allow me to scout and get more locations out here and possibly give me a couple more turns, because once I acquire these cards, I have nothing left to buy. I need to get more cards out here for purchase. Now, in theory, I could use, what's-her-face, Matrona here to get all of my cards back and then play him to get more locations, but that would result in 1 and 2 of these being pushed out there at one time. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just use this ability to get this back, but I'm going to play it last. My goal is to get 5 locations and get that bonus up here before the Manta does that, because he's going to add a Manta after I scout. But according to the BGG forums, and I was looking at the developer response to this, like, when does the timing kick in? Does it scout and then they add and then you finish out your turn, or is it you finish out your turn and then they add? It's you finish out your turn and then you add. So at least that's what I was reading on the forum. So I'm going to do that. Finish out my turn and then add a goal, one of his Mantas to the goal up here. But first I'm going to play Meg so I can get one of these 2 cards conquered. And this is just gain 3 conquer and then conquer 1 location. So I think, which one? It doesn't matter. This is 3 and this is 3. So I can just grab 1 for free. Which one do I want? I'm going to go ahead and just take this one, I guess. This is going to cost, oh, that's 5. I didn't see that. All right, well, I could spend this 2 over here, which I think I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and spend this 2. This is just a blanket 2 conquer to anything. And I'm going to grab this 5 conquer here and just slide that under here. All right, great. And I think I know what I'm going to do next. I think I'm just going to, I don't even need to think about this. I just have the seahorse. I'm going to go ahead and conquer something else. This gives me 1 conquer strength. That gives me 1 toward this, and I need 2 more. Luckily, I have a seahorse, or a Manta rather, that gives me +2 to conquer on blue locations. So I'm going to flip that. And this gives me the 3 that I need in order to conquer this card. So that gives me another location. Now, I should have scouted first, so let's go ahead and do that in the proper order. When you scout, this would have come up here. And actually, it's -1 to conquering, so it would only take 2. I would still have to flip this regardless because I didn't have enough anyway with my 1. But this would normally come up here, and then new cards come out down here. But again, we don't add, according to the developer on the BGG forums, we don't add the enemy goal manta until our turn is over. So we add those, we've scouted, and then we conquer, and we conquered this, and we're going to slide that under here. I now have 5 locations, and you can do this at any time on your turn. You can, as you satisfy goals, just do it. I'm going to go ahead and pick one of these, regardless if they're exhausted or not, and put them, put it where I need it. This is a move. Which one do I want to give up? I'd hate to give up my money one, but I have a +2 money here. I have a +1 money here, and I don't know how many more cards. These should be slid down. That's my bad. Forgot to do that before. And yeah, I think I'm going to give up my +1 money one. I think if I keep conquering, I'll be in good shape. So I'm going to give up my +1 money one. And I fulfilled where I've got 5 locations. So this is going to go into the 8 there. And because I've now finished out my turn, is there anything else I want to do before? I could use this to push something up 1. I'm not going to. Okay, so yeah, I'm done with my turn. And now I'm going to add one of his tokens. Obviously, I'm going to add it after this one so that I can still work on the other ones and possibly get first place. I don't know if it's going to work out that way, but we'll see. So in theory, this one goes to the discard pile. Okay, so this might get a little tricky. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to work out the way I want it to, but I've got some things I can do with this board. I can move one up by 1. I can use this, for example, to score this one. I could use that one to score this one. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. I'm thinking about using that treasure to then score this card completely, which I think I'm just going to do now. And that will go into my score pile for endgame scoring. That leaves me with this, and I think I'm going to use this up 1 here to move this one up by 1. And I've got an up 1 here. Now, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to play this out. I think what I'm going to do, because I need to clear this board a bit, I need to get another one up here. So what I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one up and to push that up, even though I'm not going to use this +1 coin, unfortunately. And now I've got 2 of them ready to go for scoring. Now I could do one of 2 things. I've got a wave teller that I've yet to play in my hand. I could use it as 2 treasures and knock this out. That would be great. Or I could use it as this and bump something else up by 2 like that. And then, but I think I need to clear the way. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one and push that up in order to get rid of this one. I haven't used the wave teller yet, but this is now going into my score pile over here. And this is blank. Now I do have a manta that is a +1 up. I'm going to go ahead and exhaust it in order to get past this empty circle here. This one allows you to completely push a card up all the way to its end. I think that'll be super helpful on my next acquisition. This is what I'm left with. I still haven't used this yet. What I could do is I could use it now and score this one. And that way I've got 3 locations ready to go for the next wave of acquisition. So I think I'm going to use my wave teller card. I can't score 2 cards, but I could score one of them, which is this one over here. I don't think any other mantas, none of my other mantas are useful in this situation. I could, in theory, use this and push this all the way up, like so. The only reason I'm hesitant to do that is I kind of want to use this +2 to help me acquire some of these other cards. However, I've got a lot of conquering going on, so I may not need that extras. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead, because I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to use this and push this card all the way up, like so. And now I'm left with this. What I could do is, yeah, perfect. I'm going to use this symbol to score this card. And now I've got 2 here that I could score. I'm going to put that in my discard or my score pile. I'm going to use this card to score 2 of these, which is awesome. This goes into my discard pile, and the score, I didn't know that would work as well as it did. I thought I'd be left over with some. I did skip over some symbols that I could have used, but the fact that I'm about to start a new wave with I mean, this is the only thing I got left in my hand. I have to take cards back at this point. That means that another one is coming out, but not yet. Technically, it's still, I still have got a little bit of time to take care of that. All right, so one of the things I neglected to do when I reached the bottom of some of these scorecards, you'll notice that there's some purple symbols here, and they say +1/+1, move up. So I need to grab 2 of the wild, are they upside down? Yeah, they're upside down. So yeah, there's no other purple symbols that I'm missing. I'm all over the place with these cards. All right, yeah. So I should have in my possession 2 of these wild purple ones. So there is that's a 2. This is I wish they were more contrasty. That's a +1 up and a plus. So I get these, a 1 up and a 1 up. Wild Manta. And I've satisfied, look how many I've satisfied at this point. I have 3 treasures here, so I could score this immediately. I have 2 wild, I could score this immediately. And I will have 8 momentarily. I need to score 1 of them because I'm going to use the Matrona card. Basically, you get all your characters back. Unflip all mantas. This character cannot be discarded. Okay, so I'm going to just do that. I'm going to play this, get all my characters back, unflip all of my mantas. And because I now have, my turn technically isn't over yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got more than 8 cards in hand, so I'm going to go ahead and score that. I'm going to put I'm going to use my blue 1 up and put it here. And because I've gotten my cards back and my turn is over, the computer will now add 1 of his mantas here. So we're about halfway through the game at this point. I'm starting from a clean slate, and so far I'm ahead. I have enough to take these right now if I want. I'm kind of hesitant, though, to take them immediately, only because I can use them first and then score them. It doesn't matter if they're exhausted or not. Once you fulfill these, it's optionally on your turn. You can fill these up. So I think I might wait on filling these in until the last possible second because I want to use these abilities before I have to give up those mantas. So I take all the cards back into my hand, and now I got to figure out what to do. Okay, so let's start with good old Meg here. Gain 3 conquer, and then conquer 1 location. So with that, I am eyeing this one. Now, these are super expensive. 5, 6, 8, 4, 5, and 3. They're super expensive. I'm going to go ahead and flip my 1 conquer manta, make it exhausted, and grab this 4. This will allow me to, in the future, +2 to a blue location, then +2 to a yellow location, and then +2 to another blue location. And then when I get to the bottom, I'll get an extra manta that can do more conquering. Hopefully I can use that to my advantage in the future, but that's all I can really afford at this point in time. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is the seahorse. I'm going to bypass the scout, which is a possible thing you can optionally not do. Gain a conquer, and then conquer 1 location. So I've got 1 conquer, and I'm going to spend this +2 over here. That gives me 3 toward a blue one. And the only blue one is this one over here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and conquer this one for 3. This one has a treasure on it and a move up 2. My only real take on this one is that I'll use it to help me score a card, but hey, points are points, hopefully. And there we go. The next thing I'm going to do is play the Legionnaire, gain 3 conquer, and then conquer 1 location. And I'm going to use this +2 toward a yellow location. This is the only one out here. And that makes 5 conquer, and I've got 5 conquer here. And I'm grabbing that mainly for this, so I can actually get a card back from my discard pile, and hopefully this will help out with future conquers as well. So this is going to go into my discard pile, and I'm going to put this onto my board, and there we go. So I'm going to do a couple of things here. I am actually going to use one of my move mantas, my move up 1, to move this blue. Now, I know what you're saying. Why are you moving this +2 blue up by 1? Well, there's no other blue ones out here. Oh, there is. Where's that green? It's hard to see. That's green. Never mind. I'm good. So the green and blue blends in a little bit for me. Anyway, I'm going to use that move, which I've already flipped face down. That way, I'm now at the bottom, and I get a +1 to conquer. So I'm going to take one of these purple +1 to conquer mantas so that I can use them in the future. I'm also going to use this symbol over here to take a card from my discard pile. And which one do I want? It's probably just going to be a +3. Yeah, it's just going to be one of these +3 conquer ones. I'm going to take the Legionnaire back. And I got to figure out what to do next. All right, so this is going to get a little convoluted, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play this +3, gain +3 conquer, and conquer 1 location. It gives me 3 so far. I'm going to use this +2 to give me 5, and I'm going to use this manta here that gives me +1. That gives me 6 conquer power. And I'm going to grab this one. I know what you're going. Well, Vince, there's all money on here. What are you going to do with that? Well, hopefully it'll work out. You'll see in a moment. But I'm going to go ahead and grab this card and slide it under here. And I should probably, just at this point, go ahead and use this chest symbol to score this one here, because it's completely done. And that goes into my score pile. Next up, we're going to use the Sea Lord. Gain a money and buy 1 location. That gives me 1 money to work with. However, I have a +2 over here from the card that I just got. And this card costs 3 money. Instead of 5 conquer, I could spend 3 money. I'm going to go ahead and just do that. So that slides in. This will give me +3 to conquer when I need it, but the rest of these circles are empty. If I can get it to the bottom, I'll also get a +2 to power conquer or whatever. All right, next I think I'm going to use Xander the Usurper to move something up by 1. I'm going to go ahead and move this one up by 1. That was just an empty circle. And now I can take a card from the discard pile, which is going to be Meg, so I can get more conquering power in the future. I'm going to try like heck to get this 8 conquer power 1. Next, I unflip 1 manta. So the only manta, oh, there's a couple. I'm going to go ahead and flip over this +1 to conquer. I may need it in the future. I do have a +2 to moving something, as well as this one here. I'm very tempted to possibly just get rid of this +3 gold. I'm not sure when I'm going to need it, because I have to actually score something here. I mean, I don't have to, but I'd rather make use of it while I can. I'm going to go ahead and use this up to up to here, bypassing that +3 without using it. And I'm going to use the last part of this to score a treasure. So I'm going to just score this and put this into my discord pile. There we go. The next thing I'm going to do is quite unfortunate. Unflip all mantas, gain a power, and then conquer 1 location. I don't have enough strength to conquer that last location, but I can unflip all mantas with this card. That gives me 1 and 2 that I need for my next play, which is going to be the Meg that I have. So I've got 3, +3 is 6, and then I've got 2 mantas here that give me conquer. So that's 7 and 8. So I now have 8 conquer, which I can use to acquire this card here, which is not terrible. I just don't know how I'm going to get it all the way to the end here in order to start scoring it, but I'll try and figure that out later. And that goes right there. Quick retcon, what I could have done before playing this, I have 2 moves here. So I'm going to flip these over to the reverse side before using that card to unflip all my mantas. So I can push these empty circles up like so. I'm going to use this treasure chest to score this card here. And when I had played this card back here to unflip all my mantas, those would have gone along with it. So this up 1 and up 1 would have been available to me now. These are still not available because I played Meg after I played Unflip All Mantas. So all I really did was I scored a card. I could have done that prior, I just forgot to. The next thing I'm going to do is play this up 2 in order to move this up by 2 like so. And we've got a +3 to power showing there. And I am going to play a card. I'm going to play, where is he? Wave Teller. This will allow me to either score 2 chests or 2 of these cards or move something up by 2. I'm going to go ahead and score these 2 right here and get more points for endgame scoring. Now we're getting close to the end of the game here. The only card left I have is Recruit 1 Character. I don't have any way to generate money to buy anyone else, and this character doesn't seem all that good. Pay 1 money to play any character from your discard pile. If I had money, I'd play it, but I don't. I don't have any way to generate money. I gave up my 1 money manta to start marking things on this board over here. What I am going to do is try and get this one to the end and score it. That's all I can really do at this point without ending the game. So I'm going to use my 2 move up ones. So these will go up like that. And I've got 2 left to move before I can possibly score it with a treasure chest. Without anything left to do, I'm going to go ahead and use Matrona here to get all my cards back. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and use, I don't think it matters, I'm not going to conquer anything. I'm going to get rid of my +2 to blue conquer and put that here. And I'm going to go ahead and use Matrona to get all my cards back. And just that ends my turn there. And now the AI will add 1 of their mantas, which is here. And at this point, like I said, I mean, if I scout, that will add another 1 here, and that's that. When I pick up all my cards, these should be refreshed. This is a +1 to move. This is a +1 to conquer, +1 to conquer. Okay, so I've got 2 move here that I could use just to move this up. And then I could play, him to just score it. Or I could just play him to score it. Again, once I scout, that's pretty much game over for me. So I think what I'm going to do is, I mean, yeah, I might as well just use, I'm going to use my 2 move, right there and right there. Move this up by 2 without gaining their effects. This is ready to score. I'm going to go ahead and play Wave Teller and just score this one here. And that is that. I have nothing left to do at this point. I have no cards. I think all I'm going to do is I'm going to have to play that 1 card that lets me scout. And then I get 1 more turn after that. Maybe I'll get lucky and score 1 more card after it's all said and done. So I'm going to go ahead and scout. And to do that, I just draw some new cards. Like so. I gain 1 conquer, and then I can conquer 1 location. I've got 2 extra conquer up here, so I've got a total of 3 conquer that I can spend, or 3 power that I can spend in order to conquer something. What would be the easiest thing to conquer for endgame? This is pretty easy. That would be 2 points. This is 2 to conquer. 2 to conquer. Was that 1 to conquer? Wow. And this is 3. I could probably get through this, maybe. I would have to move this up twice somehow and then score it. I think, though, I'm going to go with this one, and because I don't think I can do it all in 1 turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just take this one for 2 conquer and put it all the way there. And I have to spend 1 of my conquers to do it. That was 1 from the card and 1 from my manta. I just need to get this pushed up by 1. And this is going to go out, but before he does that, I'm going to use my last part of this turn to claim something else, which is I have 2 wild mantas, so that's fine. He's going to do that. That's great. And for my last turn of the game, because he now has all of his mantas out here, I have to play something that will move this up and conquer it, or score it. And I think I've got Xander the Usurper here that can do exactly that. Move up by 1, get a card from your discard, unflip a manta, and then score. So I'm going to do Xander the Usurper, move that up by 1. Take a card back from the discard. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to bother with it. Unflip a manta. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to bother with it. Actually, you do get a point, I think, for cards left in your hand. I might as well just follow through with it. And I get to unflip a manta and then score a card. So this is done. It's an extra 2 points. I don't know if it's really going to matter, but so it goes. All right, so purposes of final scoring. We get 1 prosperity point for each character card in your hand, including your king, not counting those in your discard pile. Well, it says, yeah, I don't have my king, but I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards left in my hand. Next, we do the goals. 8 times 4 is 32. 32 plus 7 is 39. And then it says to total the number of prosperity points in your score pile. So starting from 39, we have 2, so that's 41. 41 plus 8 is 49. 49 plus 3 is 52. 52 plus 6 is 58. 58 plus 5 is 63. 63 plus 6 is 69. 69 plus 4 is 73. 73 plus 3 is 76. 76 plus 5 is 81. 81 plus 5 is 86. 86 plus 4 is 90. Plus 4 is 94. Plus 4 is 98. So we got 98 points. And I may have even forgot to give myself maybe a manta or 2. I could have sworn, yeah, there's a +2 manta down here. I should have grabbed when it got to the end, but forgot to. There's another +2 manta. So, not that it would really have mattered, because I wouldn't have been able to, like, push it down far enough to score it. These larger scorecards, like 7 points, have a lot of things to get through. And I don't think I had enough, like, move actions to get it all the way up. But anyway, 98 points isn't bad. I think that blows the game. Yeah. I am the Kraken, 91 or more. Is that 98 points? So that's not bad for my first game. I may have done something wrong. I could have used the advanced goal tokens as well to possibly make it a bit more difficult. Something that you may want to consider if you found this to be too easy. As far as my thoughts, real quick, I really enjoyed this solo mode. It plays very fast. I feel like it's 75% puzzle. It really makes you be as efficient as possible, because every time you scout and every time you use your, I keep wanting to call her Minerva, but it's not Minerva, it's Matrona, there we go. Every time you use the Matrona card to get your cards out of this card, then the AI will add one of their rays to the score area. So you kind of have to, like, within your first, before you scout and before you take your cards back, you have to claim one of these. That way you can put his manta right after yours. That's what I was doing. I was trying to stay 1 goal ahead of him the entire game so that he would always end up putting his marker on or one of his tokens on a 5. I think that's part of it. Like, you have to be super efficient in this puzzle mode. And as you can see, it plays very quickly. It still leads to that whole decision paralysis thing, but because you're only playing a solo game, it's not as bad, in my opinion. In a 2-player game with Idalee and I, we spent a lot longer playing the game because both of us were trying to chain things together, and +2 to this and then +1 to that, and this slides up and then this lets me do that. Like, with 2 of us doing that, it takes a lot longer. When you're playing solo, you can be a bit more brazen in what you're doing, and then still, it looks like, achieve a decent score. Because this is my first game, I can't believe that I scored 98 points. And again, I may have done something wrong. I always say that. Just assume I have. But anyway, I did like this solo mode. I really did. The game is beautiful in itself. My only concern really is, like, there's not a whole lot of characters in the core game. I do believe there's an expansion for this game. I don't own it. But I do believe there's an expansion for this game that makes it a bit more meaty. But yeah, I am digging the solo mode. I really am. It sort of takes, you know, the multiplayer game, sort of condenses it into a shorter experience, but it's still very puzzly, which some people may like. Well, that was Aquatica. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. Take care.